everyone, welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and today I am here with my weekly WIP and Chat. If you're new or just aren't sure what that means, WIP stands for Work in Progress, and Chat just means, well, we're going to chat and spend a little time together today catching up. So feel free to pull out a project to work alongside me. I'm going to be doing a diamond painting, actually the same diamond painting that I was working on in last week's WIP and Chat. It's called Books and Things. It's by Kat Fedora and is from the shop Munimade. I am slowly but surely making progress on this kit. The section we're going to be working on today is this section that's kind of right next to the cat's face. I just finished a section that had the cat's face in it. You can see, well, no, you can't really. Hold on, let me tilt you. You can see the cat's face over there. It's looking really good, actually. So we're just in the next section over. I kind of wish I could have gotten the timing a little bit better on that because it would have been fun to do the most recent section in this WIP and Chat with you, but oh well, that's okay. But we are going to get into this section here, and I have just 2 rows left after this one. I split this into 7 rows, top to bottom, and yeah, so we're on row number 5, over halfway through row number 5 now. So anyway, I think this kit is currently sold out. I think that Munimade has the option to sign up for back in stock notification emails, but don't quote me on that. It's been a minute since I've double checked that myself. But I'll link to it anyway, so you can take a look. And as far as accessories go, I have this pen, which I just opened up in a small shop haul video. That's from Custom Pens by Cheryl. It's a 3D printed pen, but it has these beautiful little details in it, and you get just a little bit of ASMR with this. I don't know how well my mic is going to pick it up, but it's kind of the rain stick style of pens that when you flip it, you really do hear that, which I kind of love. I can feel it a little bit too, so it's like a fun sensory thing. The tray is from Firefly. I love Firefly trays and need to go check out. I think they have like an oops roll or like end of roll sale going on, or they did. I should go and check it out and see if they have any that I need to have. This one is kind of supernatural TV show inspired. I had them print on the side, my people skills are rusty. And on the other side, always keep fighting. This, oops, just chucked the trash trail part out of it. This is the Inferno style specifically. I like how big this one is. A lot, and this color is just really, really rich and pretty. I'm going to be using, I was going through my wax actually for a destash, and I realized I had just a big bag of Patty Wax samples. I don't even know if they still do samples because I haven't ordered Patty Wax from them and from the Patty Wax shop. I haven't ordered the actual wax in a really long time, but I have to have like 20 or 30 of these little sample bags. I thought, let me just grab one of these and use one of these in my single placer because I like Patty Wax in my single placer, but I just haven't been using these. So, and then I'm going to be using this putty in my multi-placer. This putty is from Scentsible by Design, and unfortunately this shop, I don't think that it's open in any iteration at this point. The owner did pass away last year, which is just, my heart goes out to their family. I do still really love their putty. If you're looking for some other putty suggestions, though, you can check out my small shop haul videos or other WIP and Chats. But I still love and really love using this putty and have a lot of different kinds of it. So I wanted to use it today. It's been a little while. And then this is a new cover minder. I also opened in a recent small shop haul. Any fellow A Court of Thorns and Roses fans out there? This is from Shire Shenanigans, and she has a lot of these. They are all kind of like on this wood material, and really, really just pretty, like really nice, simplistic, but fun cover minders. So I'm going to be using this one today, which I thought, we're working on a bookshelf, so having a book themed cover minder felt appropriate. So let me go ahead and open up this section, and then I will load up, yeah, I'll go ahead and open this. At least I'll do the cut here, and then I will load up my pen with wax and putty, because that's a brand new pen that I've never used before, and then we will go ahead and get started. So this will be a little bit trickier to potentially to load because it's such a smaller kind of surface area. Let's see. So let's see if it still smells. It's very subtle because I think this has probably been in this bag for 4 years or something like that. But I do still get a whiff of lemon. And I'm just going to use it like I do my regular Patty Wax bricks, which is where I just scrape. Yeah, that's working fine. Doesn't seem like there's been any deterioration of like the material or anything like that. Okay, Perfect. I'll keep this out just in case. I'll keep it handy at least in case I need to reload it. Sometimes patty wax leaves a little bit of residue when you first get started, but I tend to not find it to be too much of a problem. Okay, it's been, I don't know if I've ever tried to put a Diamond Art Club multi-placer in a 3D printed pen like from Cheryl's. So I don't think I need this washi tape. I'll sometimes use washi tape if the multi-placer is a little bit too small and keeps wanting to fall out of the pen, but it looks like that might not be the case with this one, so I'm just pulling off some of this washi tape. My watch is beeping at me a little bit. Notifications. What am I missing? Okay, actually, I'm gonna try it like that, the way that it's sitting in there. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. No washi tape needed for that. Then I'm gonna do a nice clean sweep on the putty. The Scentsible by Design wax typically comes in these little containers, and I'll show you what I typically end up doing is just kind of, sometimes I'll use the tweezers. Oh, I've never used this one. It does smell lightly of strawberry and coconut. Okay, I will just use the flat end of my tweezers to kind of scoop some out. I feel like you could also just use your fingertips, but I'm gonna try it this way and see if that works. Oh, my, my watch has like magnets that help it close, and it just like grabbed my cover minder and yanked it over and was stuck to the side of my watch. This is feeling really soft. It's been a while since I've used Scentsible by Design putty. It typically, like, I'd rank it up there with Randa's Crafty Corner in terms of putties that I will use pretty often and seem to last a while. I'm just try pinching it. It's not as handy. If you have putties that come in these little containers that are not as easy, like you can't like stick the whole multi-placer in there, what's your preferred way to get them out? That doesn't necessarily cause a huge mess, I wonder. Let me get just a little bit more. I'm gonna see if I feel like that multi-placer is loose too. Sorry, I'm working with a few different slightly new to me things. Like I said, it's been a while since, I mean, have I even gotten a 3D printed pen from Custom Pens by Cheryl before? I think that the one other pen I have from them was one that they made like a blank for that was like a hybrid with wood. I think it had some shades of pink in it if I'm remembering correctly. So I don't know that I ever actually diamond painted with a 3D printed pen before. This will be fun, something new. All right, let me open up this section and kind of lay everything out and we will get started. So feel free to pull out a diamond painting to work alongside me if you want. You know, feel free, of course, any other crafts are fine too, or keep me company while you're running errands or getting stuff done around the house. Whatever works. I treat WIP and Chats like a podcast. That's how, when I'm listening to them, I just kind of am like, oh yeah, I have some company while I'm getting things done or diamond painting. That's typically what I typically use. How many times can I say typically? That's what I use WIP and Chats for. So let's start. Let me go ahead and try to make sure the focus isn't going to be an issue. We'll go with that. And let me grab a color and we'll actually go on and get started. So I think I've started this sentence a few different times now, but hi, hello, how are you today? I hope that your Monday is off to a wonderful start, that your week is off to a wonderful start if you're watching this the day it goes up. I have my weekly WIP and Chats go up on Mondays unless something else comes up schedule-wise, which hasn't for a little bit. And so Mondays I'm here. And I just love getting to come on and check in with you guys for an hour or so. So you'll also have to give me feedback in the comments if you find the sound of this. I'm curious like how loud it really is going to be, and I hope that it doesn't bother you guys, because you will see me flipping back and forth a decent amount between my single and my multi-placer. Just kind of depends. I love that pop. It's so satisfying. That's that patty wax. I feel like I can get it really well with the patty wax sometimes. I think it usually has a little bit more to do with the glue than it does with the material, like than the wax or putty that you're using. But I don't know. This canvas in general is going to be some good pops. I'm kind of doing a little side eye over my shoulder here because my motion sensor light in my back patio area just came on. And it was probably just triggered like by a bug or something, but there's a little bit of like, I'm not out there. Who is out there? What is out there? What is setting on my motion light? it's fine. It's fine. So anyway, this project, books and things. I've obviously been working on it with you guys in my WIP and Chats for a few weeks now. I started out with kitting it up a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, and I'd imagine that I'll finish it before next week's WIP and Chat, but it's kind of fun to carry a project over between multiple WIP and Chats. I feel like typically, like for a while there, it felt like I was working on smaller kits and finishing them quickly enough that you really were only seeing a kit in one WIP and Chat, and then the next week it was a different kit. So hopefully it's fun to get to see more progress on a particular kit in different WIP and Chats if you are watching the actual diamond painting, which is a little bit clumsy right now, I think, because I'm finding that since this isn't sitting like perfectly like firm in there without moving, it's like it wants to slide just a little bit. So I have a little bit of a learning curve I'm adjusting to, and I'm also feeling self-conscious about if this kind of rain stick sound is going to bother any of you. So hopefully not. I wasn't expecting how much it was going to stand out to me as we were working here, but I'm going to see if I can make it through a good part of the WIP and Chat without having to switch my pen. But flipping my pen around every time to adjust a diamond is, yeah, I'm noticing it way more. Anyway, that's not helping you guys whatsoever. I mentioned I feel like I'm making slow but steady progress on this kit, and I'm glad that I'm not feeling really like burned out on it. It's kind of just, I'm happy to sit down and diamond paint, and however long it takes me to finish a section is fine, or however much diamond painting I get done in a day is really fine, which I'm glad, because I would have hated to get started on this project and be like, shoot, I'm actually not loving this that much, and then I have this whole big project I have to power my way through. It's 60 by 81 centimeters, which of course there are bigger projects out there, but this is it's like it's not nothing. And it's fun to work on a Munimade kit again. And I love the books, and like this cat especially is bringing me a lot of joy. So, I will be excited to kind of pick out my next project though, which I don't know what project it's going to be yet. I haven't really spent a lot of time on it. So there are some crafters and creators that I actually love this for them. And I sometimes wish I were like this, but they will sit down and they will map out like, okay, these are all the diamond paintings I see myself doing this whole year, or for the next 3 months. One creator's videos that I really love and enjoy watching on this kind of thing is Diamond Paintings with Laura, or Diamond Paintings by Laura. She's just so relaxing and enjoyable to listen to. I'll try to link her channel below if you haven't checked her out before, but she'll do like plan with me type videos, and I've always enjoyed kind of sitting down and listening to those, and then hearing her kind of reflect back afterwards, what kits she did work on or how she kind of changed things up. And I also have some friends that aren't necessarily creators that I know also are the same way. They really plan things out pretty far in advance, or have a kind of sequence of kits. Like they're like, I know what my next 10 kits are going to be. And, I'll pivot if I have to, but really like this is pretty set in stone. So, whereas I don't like feeling nailed down in a lot of ways. I would much rather fly by the seat of my pants and sort of just see what mood am I in at the time. And that's why when I decided to do my video of 20 kits for 2025, which I shared at the beginning of this calendar year, I was a little bit nervous that I was going to feel like I was locking myself into something. Like that kind of video is the closest I will ever get to sort of mapping things out, but I kept emphasizing in that video, like, none of this is set in stone. These are just some ideas that I have, and I could get to the end of the year and have worked on 0 of these kits, That might just be how it works out. As it turns out, though, at least right now, midway through March, a few months into the year, I'm actually really kind of happy that I did that, because I can keep it in mind if I want to, but I'm feeling also okay about just disregarding it and working on, whatever I want to work on, I'm in the mood to work on. But it's one of those things that's like, well, all things being equal, if nothing else is really just leaping out of my gems flow at me, it's nice to have a fun starting point to be like, hey, you know, I really said I wanted to, like with this one, I was like, I know I really wanted to work on a Munimade kit this year, or these various different small shops. And so I had my Patreon help me out. And so after this, I really have no idea. I don't think there's anything seasonal necessarily that I want to work on. We're coming up on like halfway to Halloween type events. Is that right? 3+6? No, that'd be in April, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I have kits to work on before it's even the halfway to Halloween kind of time frame. But yeah, so I'm glad that I did that 20 kits for 2025 video. It's given me, I don't know, like a little bit of guidance without making me feel very locked in to anything. Because I don't know. I think sometimes I'm very contrary where I'm like, even if I try to lock myself into something too much, I just immediately want to balk against it and be like, don't tell me what to do. I know I'm not the only one, at least, but I'm enjoying that part of it more than expected. I think that's probably the closest you'll ever get to seeing me do a plan with me type video. So I also have been, today I posted, finally got together my destash, which is right now just posted in my Patreon. I'm sorry, this is not me trying to like passive aggressively direct you somewhere. There's a point to this, I promise, because I want to get your guys' thoughts on how you decide like what kits or accessories to keep in your stash. Because I'd set this deadline for myself. I was like, okay, I want to have it done by Sunday at noon, right? And post it. So, I'm sitting down. I keep kind of doing more passes through my Gems Flow, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I shouldn't assume that you know. Gems Flow is an app, like a mobile app, and is, I feel like, one of the handiest ways to track your diamond painting collection, whether that's kits that you just own and haven't started yet, or kits that you've ordered or have on the way. There's a wish list function. You could track kits that you've completed or given away or sold, all kinds of things. I don't really know if there's anything else super comparable on the market. I know some people will sometimes track things, in Google Sheets or Google Spreadsheets or whatever. And I also don't think that Gems Flow's creators have been very active. I think that there's very legitimate reason for that I'm not necessarily going to get into, because it's politics and conflict. So, but that being said, Gems Flow is still a really fantastic and functional app that I love a lot. So anyway, I keep kind of scrolling back through it and being like, let me see, are there any more kits I can add? Like, I'm really trying to pare it down. And I'm so curious about how you would decide if you were doing a destash, if you're going, or even just going through, hypothetically, the list of diamond paintings that you own. At this point, do you feel like there are kits that you would like to get rid of given the chance, because maybe your taste has changed or you just need the space, something like that? And how do you decide for the kits that you just feel really borderline on, where it's like, I really like this kit, but it's not necessarily top tier. Like, I'll cry if I get rid of it. I know I'm being dramatic, but I don't know. I've tried different sort of tricks or strategies for myself to try to identify what kits to keep and what kits to get rid of. I've tried things like saying, okay, do I see myself ranking this exact painting in like the top half of my stash, the top quarter of my stash, my collection? Or saying like, do I see myself working on this kit in the next year, the next 2 years? Like if I were trying to really narrow it down, will this make the cut for my 20 kits for 2025, Is this kit in my rainy day stash? And like, how do you guys draw those lines and decide like, okay, I'm going to keep this, or I'm okay to get rid of it? I feel like for me, there's a lot of like, I don't like the volatility that's there. I don't even necessarily want to call it FOMO, because this applies outside of, any companies that would use what some people will refer to as FOMO marketing. I'm talking about how there's even a sense of, when it comes to small shops that make everything to order and there's not like the limited stock available, it's like there's still this sense of like, well, what if something happens in that small shop just has to up and close one day and I'm not able to get that artwork or that kit anymore. Even though, sure, that artist could hypothetically go on to sign somewhere else, maybe they won't. And so there is that sense, I guess you could just call it FOMO, like fear of missing out on something that you really want. I think because I've just been feeling more of that volatility, not knowing if a company is going to discontinue a particular kit after it sells out, or not knowing if a small shop is going to shutter their doors suddenly, which, most of the small shops that I'm really frequently buying from, that's not something I'm worried about. But even still, shops that I don't know, wouldn't have thought this were an issue with. I'm even going back to Craftibly. I'm still not over the fact that Craftibly had to shut down. I loved Craftibly, and it breaks my heart that they had to shut down. That was just a mix of awful circumstances, and they're just the sweetest people in the world. And I just, such a bummer that ended up working out the way it did. So anyway, my point is, my long-winded point here is, how do you decide, okay, if I'm okay getting rid of this kit, knowing that I might not be able to replace it. I think that's just the mentality I have to have. And I don't like that. I don't like the idea of not being able to potentially replace something, but it's hard to narrow it down. I like collecting pretty things. I can be a little bit of a hoarder sometimes, so totally acknowledge that that's a tendency that I have. But my point really was to ask if you guys had any strategies or things that you found to be helpful. Or maybe you're just one of those crafters that you're like, I don't buy anything that I don't 1,000% love, and my tastes haven't changed, and so this is not a problem that I have. And I wish I were you. I'm saying I wish I were you. So either way, just musings on diamond painting collections and crafting things. Same thing with accessories, though. I was going through my accessories and having a hard time deciding which ones I wanted to get rid of, what pens, what trays. Wax and putty was a little bit easier, but even still, there are a lot of those small shops that have closed down. So, I guess that's what happens when you've been diamond painting for 5 years. So yeah, my 5-year diamond painting anniversary is coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I don't know that I'm planning to market with anything special. I guess I could try to maybe pick out a rainy day stash kit to work on to kind of coincide with the timing of that. 5 years. That's not a short amount of time. This is a year for anniversaries, milestones too. This summer is going to be my 15th wedding anniversary. My oldest is turning 10. It's that kind of year, I guess. And I'm like, whoa, everyone just needs to slow their roll. Okay, let's slow down time just a little bit, because it's going really heckin' fast. Okay, my watch is listening to what I'm saying, and I don't know why. I must have said what sounded like my robot overlord's name, and I just looked over at my watch, and it's dictating what I'm saying, writing down everything I'm saying. Well, that's no thanks. Oh gosh, this is the scatterbrained WIP and Chat. It's just one of those days I am feeling a bit scatterbrained, I admit. So forgive me. I hope I'm not. There's a small chance I'm coming down with something. Adam is sick. Connor is likely sick. Micah, I never know. We'll just see how he wakes up in the morning. So some kind of stomach bug. But I just wonder, am I getting it too? I hope not. So yeah, let me know what your criteria is for whether to keep a kit or get rid of it, or accessories or get rid of it. And then I really did enjoy doing a small shop haul with you guys yesterday. I went back and looked. It has been since December. It had been since December since I'd done one. So 3 months. And I really missed it. I couldn't believe some of those packages. Literally, some of them from May and June. That Swampwood package was a jump scare. If you didn't watch that small shop haul, what happened was I had a Swampwood package, which they make pens. Pens tend to sell out very quickly. And the package, the ship date on it, I think said August or September. And I felt it. I was like, oh, this is kind of heavy. There must be 2 pens in here from probably combined shipping or something. Keep in mind, I have a bad memory. I couldn't remember what pens I had ordered and hadn't received yet, which is, terrible. I know. It's never an issue with this company, so it just wasn't something I was worried about. And I open up this package, and there's not 2 pens, not 3 pens, not 4 pens. There were 5 pens in this package, and I had to stop that video to go check my email to figure out what is going on here. Yeah, no, it turned out this was a combination of pens that I had ordered from like 4 or 5 different drops in May and June that had they held on and shipped to them a little bit later on. And yeah, so, but that, you know what, that was a pick-me-up that I really, really dang appreciated and didn't know that I needed. But it was fun to get into all those small shop goodies. And I'm like, man, I'm going to keep trying to find ways to make room in my budget to support small shops as much as I can right now. I do still have another set of packages for at least one more small shop haul video, but it may be another few months before you see those. But we'll get to them at some point. Many of you were commenting on that video going, I just don't know how you can not open your packages right away. I cannot believe they're like, I can't make it from the mailbox to my house without opening a package. And I think it's it helps that it's like, well, I want to show it on my channel. And I think I'm also honestly at a point where I'm amused by and enjoy it being so long that I will genuinely sometimes forget what's in there. So it's almost like I'm opening a Christmas present to myself. I know it's something I'm going to like because I ordered it, but I don't remember what it is. So yeah. I did notice, though, I have one package that is from quite a while back, and I decided to hold off on unboxing it in this small shop haul. It was from Whimsical Daisies on Etsy. They sell Not Your Mama's Mud, which is one of my go-to waxes for my single placer. And their Etsy shop link, it just says, this shop doesn't exist. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Did they, leave Etsy? Did the shop just straight up shut down? What happened? And so I'm going to have to go ask around and see. I have thankfully plenty of that wax to last me for quite a long time, but I just want to make sure I know so that if I'm, using them as in a WIP and Chat or something, whether or not to let you guys know, oh, this shop isn't around anymore or not. I hope it's okay that I do use products that are sometimes not necessarily any longer available. It's I have them and I do want to use them. Yes, even sometimes in WIP and Chats, and you can sometimes find accessories in destash groups. There's a few different ones, slash your DP stash and DAC fans and stuff. There's lots of destash groups on Facebook where you can find not just kits but accessories too. Definitely recommend checking those out. Other things that have been going on, well, there was that big Disney release from Diamond Art Club this past weekend, and I just have to say I didn't have any any comments like this on my videos, but my gosh, it seemed like as soon as I saw the preview starting on the Diamond Art Club social media pages, I was going into the comments because I was excited to see ooh, are people, excited? Is this their, favorite princess or whatever? And it just felt like there was a lot of people that were just they were just mentioning things that they were unhappy about. I'm not going to try to just say oh, there were so many negative comments or whatever. It's people are allowed to have their whatever feelings they want to have. But it seems disproportionately more than I see on your usual social media previews from Diamond Art Club with their new releases. I was there's a lot more people that are, noticing and mentioning things that they're unhappy about or they're wishing were different. I thought, is it because it's Disney and that just evokes a stronger response in people? Because I didn't think that the artwork was that disappointing or whatever. I thought this was I liked a lot of this release actually. I thought there was a nice variety too, which was really that's always good to see. And I thought, oh, this will appeal to a range of people. But I don't know. I'm curious. So if you're one of those that was kind of meh about the Disney release, and not just because if you're just not a Disney fan, that's one thing, but it was people that had very specific things were this background's too boring, or I just, this is, I wish it were this style of artwork instead. Oh, why haven't we seen this character yet? But we've seen a million of this character. Again, all valid things, but I guess, yeah, it just seems like it was very specific to this release and Disney related things. I'm just curious why that might be. I'm ever intrigued by sort of what makes people's brains tick and why people do what they do. Yeah. I had my sneak peeks, and I didn't end up buying anything because I am on a very strict budget at the moment, and that's fine. The only kit from this release that was like I'll be extremely sad if I don't have it, I was fortunate enough to have as a sneak peek, which was Beyond the Grotto. It feels like it's, you know, the official Disney licensed version of Something About Her by Mandy Manzano, which is, you know, probably my favorite kit in my collection that I haven't started. Just the most sentimental piece, and so it was fun to have kind of the, well, here's like the actual movie art and everything. So I am really stoked for that one, and they've been teasing that on the website for weeks and weeks and weeks at this point, so it's like it's finally here, yay. But that was one of the ones that sold out, which I'm not shocked. Does anyone else, I know I've said this before, but does anyone else, whenever there's a kit that you really like and you see that it sells out quickly, are you like, of course it did, I have great taste? Do you feel just kind of like self-satisfied? Like, I'm so glad the kit that I really love sold out, because, you know, so many other people feel the same way about it. I just gave you a good chuckle. Yeah, so that's kind of diamond painting updates. Wow, I've chatted your ear off about random diamond painting stuff for over half an hour. Let me give you a quick update on surgery. So obviously I'm here, I'm fine. I put a community post up on Tuesday, the day after. I did have a surgical procedure last Monday, and it went well. Everything has gone, you know, pretty smoothly. I want to just share a little bit of detail about kind of what it was like that day and everything. It's not going to be graphic. It's not going to be what I would think of as graphic. I'm just going to talk about just sort of my feelings about it. It's the first time I've really had surgery and gone under general anesthesia and whatnot, aside from getting my wisdom teeth out, and this was just a very different setting. So I'm more talking about like my emotions surrounding it, not really the like physical aspects of it as much, but I don't always know what people might be kind of squeamish about. So if you don't want to hear that, I completely understand, and you can skip ahead. But again, I tried to keep it really not graphic at all. So my surgery was scheduled for 12:30, and I had to be there 2 hours early. And so I was really thankful I was able to actually sleep in. I was worried I was going to wake up really early and be so anxious I wouldn't be able to sleep. I was initially, so this ended up being fine, but I felt really dumb afterward. The night before surgery, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to sleep, so I took a melatonin. As it turns out, like generally speaking, like melatonin and anesthesia don't mix, but I had taken it far enough in advance that like it wasn't a problem. Like I told them about it, and they were like, by the way, you can't take that tonight, for example, because the anesthesia stays in your system for longer. Anesthesia and melatonin can interact, like it can be a thing. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm just parroting to you what I was told for me in my specific circumstances by my specific doctor. Just going to give that big disclaimer right here. I play it extra safe when it comes to medical stuff. But so the melatonin helped me fall asleep for sure. And then I, woke up when my alarm went off. I felt decently rested, but of course was then anxious. And the good news is I was so anxious that I didn't have any appetite, which was great because I couldn't eat or drink anything at this point. And then my mom, who was in town, and Adam both came to the hospital in separate cars so that one could stay with me and one could leave to go get the kids when it was time to go get them from school. And so we got there, and again, this is something I haven't done before. The only time I'd even been to the hospital, I'd been there for one emergency room visit a while back for myself, over 7 or 8 years ago now. It was before I was pregnant with Micah, and I was there to deliver my kids. That was basically it. I've never been there for okay, hi, I'm checking in for this pre-planned outpatient procedure or whatever. So it was all very new to me, but everyone there was super nice. I mean, I've had a really positive experience with this hospital and this medical group before, so I'm not surprised by that, but still it was nice that it just felt very, very pleasant. And they did a bunch of just sort of pre-op prep and stuff like that, and there are a few different things. They were I couldn't get my rings off my fingers. I'm still still working on losing some weight. Like I would have needed to like put my fingers in a freezer or something, or done something to try to, they're really close to being able to come off, but they couldn't. It ended up being fine. But then I was like, it hadn't even occurred to me that, oh, I need to take my earrings out, because I just wear these stud earrings that I just leave in all the time. And I just flat forgot that I had them in. And then I was just like, okay, can we take your earrings out? I was like, oh my gosh. Yes, of course. So, and then I felt really, really lucky. Again, I'm going to keep this really not graphic, I promise. But I just will say I was really nervous about having the IV placed. And I got very, very lucky that literally the nurse that was placing it had a little badge on her lanyard that said the vein whisperer or something like that. And it was painless virtually and was very, very easy. So I was extremely thankful for that. And then it was a lot of hurry up and wait. It was a lot of just sit around and wait, which was not great, because there wasn't a whole lot to occupy my mind. They were running just a little bit late. And at one point, the anesthesiologist, came by, and my doctor came by, and the OR nurse came by to all kind of talk to me and stuff like that. And then when it was actually time for them to go to wheel me back, and I was saying goodbye to Adam and to my mom, even though I'd been feeling like, anxious, but not like distraught or anything, it was when it was time to say goodbye to them, I just like started crying, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're feeling emotions. We're feeling feelings here. And I think it was just like, I was feeling scared because it was like this big unknown. I didn't know what this was going to be like, just the process of going back to the OR and going under general anesthesia. I was just feeling I was feeling scared. And I was also just feeling like there's probably just some feelings about having this procedure finally done, because we've been kind of had it on the calendar and been working up to it for a year at this point, a bit over a year, I think. And it's like, okay, it's finally happening. I mentioned some of the emotional kind of implications of it that I'm kind of working through. I mentioned that in last week's WIP and Chat. And so it all just kind of hit me at once. And so I just cried a little bit, and then I was okay. And then as they went to, wheel me back, it just felt very surreal, because again, it was like, this isn't something that I've ever done before. I don't know what happens here. I didn't even know, like, am I going to fall like asleep before I go back to the OR, or like after I get back there? How's this going to work? As it turned out, it's like we got back there, they had me scoot from like the push bed or whatever. They had me scoot myself over to the operating table itself. And then I kind of thought the anesthesiologist would what's the stereotypical thing, right? Is that they tell you to like count to 10 or count down from 10 or something like that. And so I was kind of, waiting to see like, oh, is he going to tell me anything? And I was only like, I only moved myself over to the table a minute or two prior. And, that doesn't want to come off the putty at all. Oh no. Am I going to lose the AB coating? A little bit. Hold on a second. And I just remember thinking, I'm laying there. I'm kind of feeling, like, it feels almost surreal. It's like, oh, this is what it's like to be in an OR. This is, I don't know, all these different feelings. And then noticing, like, okay, I think the anesthesiologist is maybe doing something with my IV, like the tubing. And then I was gone. I was absolutely gone, and I remember nothing, absolutely nothing. I was kind of reassured actually when the anesthesiologist had come back to talk to me in pre-op, because I saw he was like an older guy, and there was something reassuring to me about that. Like, it was very easy for me to just sort of make assumptions and be like, oh, you're an older guy, like you're probably very seasoned and have been doing this forever, so this is probably going to go very smoothly. And that's exactly how it went. And the next thing that I remembered was waking up in recovery, and I felt like I couldn't open my eyes like at all. Like, I was just so tired, exhausted, like I couldn't wake up. But I just kept coughing and coughing and coughing. Like, I couldn't help but cough. And I think that's because of, do you like the mask? They don't like do, I don't know all the specific details, but they use this like mask thing for like oxygen when you're under general anesthesia for like at least this procedure. It wasn't like the full intubation or whatever. I guess it's less invasive, technically speaking. But I remember my mom telling me afterward when I told her, I was like, yeah, my throat is what's bothering me a lot during recovery. And she said, actually, when I had that major like stomach surgery, she's like, that's what I remember taking a while to kind of heal up. Like, man, my throat is just really bugging me from the whatever they use, the mask, the inflating mask thing. And so I was coughing a lot. I was having a really hard time kind of waking up. And then my mom came back. Adam had come back to get the kids. And I heard my mom kind of talking to me and saying, hey, the doctor came out and talked to us. And, everything went super smoothly. Everything went really well. Unfortunately, I was having some pain when I woke up. And I kind of just thought like, oh, it's just for the moment, like it's, it's going to pass. I kind of assumed that they would have given me more pain management. Like, I don't know, while I was under, like in the moment, it's my fault for not like really speaking up and being like, I'm like having pain that is kind of like actually getting a little bit worse as I wake up more. I didn't say anything. I really should have. Like that's on me. I think I don't know, I wasn't thinking super clearly, honestly. So I was having some pain and thought, well, I just want to get home and then got home, and the car ride home was horrible, honestly. Like it wasn't until I was in the car and like we were riding home, it's like a 20-minute drive from the hospital, that I just was getting increasingly more like agitated and feeling more pain, and I was starting to get really anxious and feeling like I have to get this pain under control. Like I'm afraid it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. And managed to, like, once I got home, I couldn't figure out if I was going to like throw up or pass out or like what was going to happen. So I was like, my mom helped me like up to bed, and I immediately was able to take something, but then was worried about throwing up because of it. And so I took an anti-nausea, and then that like just anti-nausea meds snow me, like they wipe me out. And I mean, we got home around, I think 4:30 or 5, and I basically slept almost straight through from then until like 9 o'clock the next morning. I woke up a couple of times to take more medicine and to, move the heating pad around and try to eat something so that I wouldn't get sick from the pain medicine, and then sleep. And then I that's mainly been the way that I feel like my body has been recovering since. My pain, thankfully, has been under control for the most part since that first day. And again, it's my fault for not speaking up. Hey, you gotta speak up and advocate for yourself. I know that. I'm sure if I would have said something, if I would have said I was in pain, they would have done something about it like then and there. But I just kind of thought like, oh, it's just some leftover aches, and it wasn't that bad until we really left. So, anyway, I feel I'm not 100% yet. The fatigue is a lot better. But, I mean, the sort of physical recovery that I'm not going to go into the details of is more like 2 to 3 weeks. And then we won't necessarily know how well the procedure worked for potentially a few months. So now it's a little bit of a waiting game. We're just going to kind of see what happens at this point. But at this point, I just feel very relieved. Well, I feel relieved that everything went so smoothly. Thank you for all of the positive thoughts, the prayers, if you're the praying sort, or anything, good vibes you had to send my way. It means the world to me, and the messages and the comments, just so sweet. And I'm very relieved that it went so smoothly, aside from that one hiccup. And I was a little nervous that I was going to wake up from the procedure and feel, mixed feelings, or feel regret, or just feel mixed emotions. And honestly, at least on the very surface level, like consciously, I've just felt relief. I've just felt good about it. I've had a couple like little crying spells where I feel like I'm just mostly having a reaction to the recovery, and maybe just sort of the whole process of having surgery and kind of the newness of all that. But, I don't know. I think I'm doing okay. So, yeah, we'll kind of see. I don't know if this is something I'm not going to be giving you like regular reports on like, well, it's a month later and here's how it's going. But I'm sure, as things come up, if my migraines improve, I'm sure I'll be mentioning that or something. Or if I'm just feeling less fatigue, seems like something I might, mention or something. But, not going to be boring you with constant like, okay, here's surgery recovery updates. But since it's something I talked about last week, I wanted to fill those of you in that were interested in just hearing maybe a little bit more about it. So, and if you're someone that's, looking at potentially having this procedure done, there's lots of great like resources out there and people that have shared about their experiences, and hopefully anything I've shared about it is maybe helpful. I hope, maybe reassuring. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. What else? So what did we do this weekend? Yesterday, Saturday, Adam and I had the chance to have a little bit of a kid-free day. Adam's parents had asked if they hadn't seen the kids in a few weeks. I'm like, we really want to see the kids, and you too. But they're like, do you want us to take the boys for the day? And, then Katie can kind of have like a breather. And if you guys want to just have some kid-free time, which I thought was incredibly sweet of them. They do a lot to help with my sister-in-law, and so we really try not to burden them on our part, but that was so incredibly sweet of them. So we ended up meeting them down at a park in Dana Point that I'm like, oh, this park is great. We're going to have to come back here because the kids loved it. It's kind of halfway between where we live and they live. And we met them down there and then handed off the kids. And then Adam and I had basically the day. Unfortunately, Adam was starting to come down with the stomach bug that he's really had like full blown today. I just feel so bad. He's basically been sleeping all day today. But yesterday we were able to do some things, like we went out to dinner. Actually, the first thing we did is after we handed off the kids, we came back to our home and just took a nap. We napped for like an hour and a half. And then we went out and we needed to do just a little bit of shopping. Adam's shoes were literally falling to pieces. And I was like, let's go get you some new shoes. Got a pair of shoes on clearance for Micah because his shoes are starting to wear holes in the toes of those. He's so hard on clothes, you guys. Oh my gosh, kids. Now we went out to dinner, which we haven't done in a really long time. And I kept going, oh my gosh, like before we had kids, we just had these like footloose and fancy free weekends. Oh my gosh. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it was just a wonderful little taste of like, oh yeah, this is, we got to just have these weekends where we would just kind of like follow our noses and just could kind of do whatever, like go to a sit down restaurant or just decide to like take a peaceful little nap or go shop for shoes without trying to make sure that a little one isn't running off to go terrorize someone across the aisle. Stuff like that. So it was really, really nice. And I appreciated so much that Adam's parents did that for us. We also, when we were out and about, one of the stores that we went to, it took me right back to a very particular moment in time 5 years ago, actually, where it was this particular Home Goods and TJ Maxx that were down in like San Juan Capistrano, which is quite a drive from us. But it took me straight back to this time 5 years ago where a very, very, very dear friend of mine, very, very long time and wonderful friend of mine, she and her husband had just suffered like a horrible, horrible, horrible loss that I'm not going to share about because it's extremely upsetting. But we really walked through that time with them. And one of the things that I did is while she was on, leave from work for a fair amount of time, we would get in the car together and we would just drive. We would just pick a Home Goods or a TJ Maxx or Marshall's. We'd pick like a different one every day and just drive out to one. And the last time that I had been at this particular like TJ Maxx and Marshall's was when I had gone with her 5 years ago. And it just was another one of those moments of, it just threw me right back to that time where I was reminded of the emotions that I was feeling at the time and that kind of what we were walking through with them. And I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever have that where there's places that it's like you haven't ever been to a particular place except for a very significant moment in time, and then you find yourself there again even years later. Does it just take you straight back to that kind of time? Because that's what I was feeling. Even like going to the hospital. It's like last time I was here, I was, I had just given birth to Micah. It was one of those weeks. Like I kept having moments like that where it was just taking my brain right back to those kinds of emotions and feelings and everything. So I don't know. But yeah, so that was just another thing that was happening. And then the kiddos, updates for them. Connor, like I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, I think he's picking up whatever Adam has. He's at an age where it's a little bit hard to tell if he's like gearing up to try to get out of going to school. There's a lot he loves about school, but he, like most kids, I imagine, he'd much rather be at home than he would at school. And so sometimes when it's like a little bit borderline, I'm like, are you kind of just like working up to this? Because it was like when he realized Adam was sick, it was like, is he like, oh, I could be like, I think I'm getting what Dad has. But he did seem kind of off this evening. And so I'm fully prepared to like wake up tomorrow and have at least one kid home from school with me. I really hope Adam is feeling better. For him, it tends to be like there's like one really rough day and then it gets better. But I mean, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Like I said, he's been sleeping basically all day. He just went upstairs. I wonder if he's going to just try to go to bed at this point. So we'll see what happens with Connor. He's also like, he's at that age where like I don't know, kids at school are talking about like harder things, like trickier subjects. And so he's coming home with questions that it's like, ooh, okay, these are ones that I want to try to make sure that I'm equipped to kind of navigate. And it's the kind of parenting that it's like when you're getting ready to become a parent, I feel like a lot of the prep that you do, like a lot of the books and everything that you read, if you are a reader like I did and just read all of the blogs and books and resources you get your hands on while you're pregnant, I feel like there's a lot less time that you spend sort of prepping for like things are going to come up when they're 9 or things that are going to come up when they're preteens or other kinds of stuff like that. And so I just am like, okay, time to do some reading after he's in bed and trying to, ask around to other parents and see like, how are you handling some of these harder kinds of topics and sort of navigating like things that kids are saying at school that aren't necessarily the same things that how you'd be handling and talking about this at home. And I'm sure this is just part of parenting, but it's coming up in ways that like we haven't like dealt with before. And so I'm just hoping I can navigate in a way that's really like sensitive. It's really important to me to keep open communication with my kids and to help them navigate like the hard stuff. But I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and I imagine a lot of parents feel that way, but still just like, I want my kids to like grow and thrive and to, for me to be able to be a good mom to them, and I just feel like it's so hard to feel like I'm able to be that. I just tend to just see the ways that I feel like I'm failing, but I don't know. Anyway, Micah he's been having like some good days at school, some rough days. I don't always I try to check in with his teacher regularly, but she doesn't always like message back super promptly, but she did message me back yesterday just with some updates and, okay, here's some of the things that he's having a hard time with. And I was like, okay, so it sounds like we had a couple of good days and now we're back to having a couple of like some struggles here and there. So yeah, he's having a tough time with this transition to this new class. And it's been, we've completed, I think, 4 weeks at this point. And it's really, I don't know, navigating special ed with kiddos it's hard. It's really hard to know, like, do we make the right call? Was this a mistake? Is this helping and serving his needs as best as it can while also like challenging him where he needs to be like challenged to grow in a good way? It is so stinking hard to navigate sometimes. But we're doing our best, and I really do feel like we have a decent team at the school. So not just decent, I feel like they're a good team, but it's hard when your kiddo's having a hard time and trying to figure out, like, am I navigating this in a way that I feel good about? So as far as what I've been reading and watching and listening to, I have still been, same old reading slump I've been in for who knows how long at this point. I have just been reading about like what's normal for recovery with the ablations and stuff like that, which is not really reading, but that's been what's taken up my quote reading time more recently. Watching, Adam and I are on season 2 of Discovery, and gotta tell you what, I'm loving it. It's so good. I told Adam some of these episodes we've been watching, I was like, I feel like these are some of my favorite episodes of Star Trek that I've watched. And I've watched a lot of Star Trek, like new Trek and like classic, like older Trek. Like Deep Space Nine is probably my favorite Star Trek show, hands down. There's so much good storytelling. And I love the character arcs and just all and character development and all of this stuff. I love it. It's like I can't put it down. And I'm like, that's how I'm feeling with season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Like, I'm like, let's watch some more episodes. Watch more episodes. I'm like, I love this. I love what's going on with the characters so much. And so we're halfway through this season right now. I think it has 14 episodes, which also we both agree that TV shows it's just better when they don't have to, there aren't this mini series style that's so popular. It's like they do 6 or 8 episodes and that's it. It's like, no, when they have a chance to sit and like breathe with the characters, when they have like 14 or more episodes to do that, that's where you get some really, really interesting story. And so I don't know, I miss some of that about how they mostly do TV nowadays. Now, I think season 2 of Discovery, that was coming out years ago, so like it's not like that's a current new show. But anyway, I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. So we're gonna have to decide if we want to because our initial plan was to, when we get to the end of season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, to hop over to the spinoff Strange New Worlds. But I'm not sure if that's still what we're going to do, if we're going to keep watching Discovery because we're just enjoying it so much. So we'll see. And then we're like, we also want to sprinkle in some Lower Decks and all that. So we'll see. Just so much Star Trek, so little time. It also feels like it's like a wonderful escapist like fantasy world right now. And it's like, I don't know. It's also useful in that sense too, to be like, this is the kind of world that I wish we were living in. But anyway, as far as what I've been listening to, I'm still on this kick with like watching videos for like YouTube channels and videos for like retro N64 games. Like the latest one the past few days, it's like YouTube is just feeding me a bunch of different videos about like Majora's Mask, whether it's things that have to do with speedruns or just like these retrospectives and stuff and musings on the game. And I just love it. It's so enjoyable. And I really enjoyed one of you guys had left just a really insightful and thoughtful comment about like about speedrunning in general on my last WIP and Chat where I talked about it. And I just wanted to say, I know I haven't like been responding to comments like very consistently at all, but I read that comment and I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot. And was like, oh, I totally see what you're saying here about just sort of how a lot of speedrunners, it's actually kind of like a love letter to the game. Like you just get to live, eat, breathe, and know a game so well down to its core that like that's almost how it's manifesting is in this particular way. So I thought it was really insightful comment. So I don't know, I get into these fun like special interest kicks and YouTube's algorithm just is like, oh, you like videos on this, here's the rabbit hole, we'll just guide you right down it. And there I go. And then as far as what I have coming up this week, so I have some unboxings that you'll probably see a couple of. I have a Diamond Art Club sneak peek already in hand to share with you all. And some other kits that I would like to get to unboxing as well. If I finish this kit, then maybe I'll have a post review up this week. We'll have to see. And then there's a stash scavenger hunt tag going around that I really, really, really want to do. And so I had initially thought, do I want to do that in a WIP and Chat or like in a dedicated video? I think it could be fun to do that in a dedicated video. I'm still thinking through how I want that to look, but that's kind of what I'm thinking of now, and that might happen this week. So anyway, That is that. And yeah, we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm glad I have enough energy that I feel like I'll be able to get back to sort of a normal filming schedule this week and everything. I feel like I dropped one of these drills somewhere, but I don't see it. So maybe it just fell back off into the tray. Okay, so if you made it all the way to the end of this WIP and Chat, which we got to the hour mark this time. I feel like I've been not quite there the past several WIP and Chats, but here we are. If you made it all the way to the end, is that like a little crystal? I think there's a crystal emoji. I think we got this little purple crystal right here. So if there's a crystal emoji or, I don't know, some other kind of emoji that just feels magical to you, feel free to share that in a comment, along with how you were doing, what you were up to while we were chatting today. No complaints at all about the accessories I used today. The putty was a little bit soft, but once I kind of broke it in, it seemed to be fine. The wax was great. The binder was great. The tray was great. Yeah, so no complaints. Anyway, thanks for watching, friends. I'm going to keep working on this section and get this video up for you guys. But I hope you had a really great week and that you're doing well and taking care and have a wonderful week ahead. And that you have a day that's as amazing as you are. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.